You are in your 20s, old enough to know what is what, young enough to be able to do something about it. You are strong. The body is a temple, a fortress, until a doctor tells you otherwise. There is something growing inside you, and it has its own agenda. People have had to deal with cancer for decades. The disease is a major killer, and I know I am afraid of it. The word is a nightmare. So when Anna found out that the lump in her arm was cancer, who knows what myriad of thoughts ran through her head. At some point very early on, she decided to share her journey. She had no way of knowing where that journey would lead. In this episode, Anna speaks about that journey, her decision, and the community that grew tighter around her. It is right also to compliment the medical experts and charities around the world who have fought cancer as a collective. Your work is a measure of what humans can achieve when they cooperate. Thank you, Anna, for your time. Twice, I might add, seeing as technical problems robbed us of the first recording. This is TwoandaMic. Rise up and be curious.
Dung weche pek kod welo mabiro e TwoandaMic. Dung parodit kod jok mawuoye TwoandaMic. Seche tin sud buta wawinji e TwoandaMic. Wola wachokre, wabed piny, bi wawinje, ero chako, dungo mit ndi, podcast makende.
I'm extremely happy to say that I'm joined by Anna Newbie.
Oh, that's
Hi,
me.
Anna. Yeah. How's it going?
Very, very good. Thank you.
Yeah. So this is actually podcast 1, take 2, on the basis that I had a technical nightmare, and when the audio was eventually downloaded to my computer, it was all distorted, and there's no way it was in a situation where we could upload it and at the same time do justice to what we were talking about. And the essence, which is perhaps not too difficult to predict, is the recent story of Anna and some of the challenges that you've gone through. So just to put things into context, you are 20, I always forget this, 28, yeah. My initial thing is, yeah, she's 28, but then I think to myself, but 1 minute, she could be 24, yeah? I mean,
Really?
and you could
I
be
like
20.
that.
Yeah, but you know, at my age, anybody who's in their 20s, they could be anything.
I still take it.
But yeah, so you're 28,
Yeah.
extremely young, of course. And I know you as a very powerful basketball player, very, very quick, thoroughly efficient in the way that you take the ball and put it in the basket, of course. And then, because of a mutual acquaintance in Thai who also plays basketball, and we had this great session where our Flinter team was there at the same time as the men's teams, and this really cool family atmosphere kind of developed, and that's where you got chatting with Thai, and after that he uploaded a sort of a mini clip to Instagram, and that's when I found your account. And then I found your secondary account. And then at that point, time kind of slowed for me, because I was reading things about you. And I've only known you now for 6 or 7 weeks. So, but I was reading things about you, which were just, I couldn't believe. And you probably get that a lot once people have first met you and then you tell them, or if the topic comes up, that this is the case. So, yeah, do you want to tell us, a couple of years ago, basically what your situation was?
Yeah, it's a funny thing actually, what you also said. Now when I meet new people, since it's 2 years ago, they don't expect that this happened to me, and then they're in a bit of shock and a bit insecure also how to react and to deal with me. But yeah, I got a very difficult and rare cancer diagnosis, like basically 2 years ago exactly, like June 24. And this came out of nowhere and it turned my world around and upside down. And I went through a very interesting journey.
Oops.
Something falling?
Yeah.
Okay. Probably you're going to hear this as well. You can cut it out maybe.
I might keep it in for background effects.
So yeah, I had a very intense and interesting cancer journey. Like it was a rhabdomyosarcoma. And from the diagnosis to the plan of my treatment and to the knowledge of how it might go, it took a few weeks and months, and there was a lot of uncertainty, a lot of chemotherapy, surgeries, and emotional up and downs. And I started to record and document it a bit and created an Instagram account about it. And that's what you've been talking about. It's still there, even though right now I'm cancer free, but I kept it there. I'm still thinking of maybe sharing a bit more of my life right now where I'm not in the hospitals and not in treatment, but it feels a bit, different now because it's harder for me to share now my healthy life than my life when I was sick. I don't know why, but still I get messages and still people find my profile and they get something out of it. So I'm still keeping it live.
Mm. I mean, in comparison to how, because let's keep it more sort of precise. When I got to know you and when I see you, I kind of have every day I make assumptions, even when I try to avoid doing so about everybody I see. It's a bit like a futuristic cyborg where I kind of see people and then the data starts generating thoughts and conclusions in my mind. And so I look at you as I do indeed everybody who I train in basketball, and I analyze their kind of energy. Sometimes I think people are a bit more tired than they are, and I ask them, "Are you okay?" And they look at me in a strange way, thinking, "Okay, what do you mean, am I okay?" And it's because I have this kind of idea that maybe people are tiring a bit, and should we change the exercise? Should we take a water break, and so on? And you're one of those who you almost have like an endless amount of energy. There's Valentina and Elena and Francisca, and Paula and a number of others who just basically just continue generating effort in some fantastical way. And my question is very long-winded. Is this how you were also before, or have you kind of like developed some, I don't know, superpower where you just are able to do more?
It's a topic which I'm dealing with a lot recently since I'm meeting a lot of new people. And once they get, I had cancer, they're like, oh, that explains why you're the way you are. And it's in a way a bit offending for me because who are you to judge who am I now and who I was before? And why is it only cancer the reason that I might seem strong or free, or I don't know what they see in me? And for me and also for my friends, when I ask them to reassure that I have definitely been the same person before, I had the same energy, the same always being down and always being there, and still this kind of very open and sunny character. It's been there before and I had it before. And of course, cancer changed me and also changed a bit my way of approaching life, but not in the terms that I have more energy now. That's the basis I'm having, which also brought me through the cancer treatment like in a very, very, very good way, which I'm very grateful for. And I think when it comes to this, for my personality and for my energy, I would definitely say cancer is not part of this. I've been this before already, and maybe it's even pointing out now a bit more or maybe I'm even allowing myself to show it more because I don't care anymore. This can be, but it was there definitely before.
Okay, in that case, let's spin it on its head. Do you feel that your energy, your natural sort of like joie de vivre, was one of the factors in you overcoming cancer?
Yes, for sure. I mean, that my cancer shrank and like the surgery was successful and the treatment was successful. I don't really think that this is my energy, and you can't really interfere with that. Of course, if you think of yourself as a strong person, you can support your body and your system to go through it, that's for sure. But if the cancer cells are reacting to the treatment, I don't believe that I have any power of interfering in that way and to have any influence. But yeah, to mentally and energy-wise overcome this or go through this, definitely my mindset and also my entire network, my entire friend group and family group, they've been such a big support. And even though it's also difficult in between to manage emotions, people, friends, and the situation is so overwhelming for everybody who loves the person who is affected, that it can be a bit stressful as well, but in a loving way and healing way as well.
When I first saw the diagnosis account, I scrolled all the way to the bottom, and because it seemed like the right thing to do to join you on your journey from that starting point. And this was a very emotional video where you shared your diagnosis, and it was interspersed with positivity, and at the same time, obviously, I guess the shock was still there, was still upon you. You cried, and I have to say, when I see people cry in a public setting in such an open fashion, I'm immediately touched by the outpouring of emotion, and at the same time, I feel that these people, you're so strong to do that, and perhaps for some people that sounds strange, but I actually feel it's much more courageous to show emotion than to hide it away, which is normally what I try to do. And so therefore I appreciate it greatly when I see somebody else showing emotion, especially in that way. Do you want to talk a bit about what you were going through when you did that first video, and also what prompted you then to record that?
I think initially it was more about sharing my journey, my feelings, my thoughts with my friends and family, because it's also difficult. People are maybe shy to ask because I get asked every day, how are you? People calling, and you have to talk about the same things over and over again. And this kind of makes you function and just saying the facts, and all this emotional part, you just have it a few times, but not every time you're talking to a person. And when I took the moment to sit down and try to break it down and to talk to my phone, which is actually very weird to talk into your phone and not to a person, it really freed me also and helped me to go through this emotion, a bit like writing a diary that you can just let yourself be. And sharing this afterwards was also so freeing because I could finally share this kind of emotions and thoughts with my very close friends and my family. And for them, it also helped them to feel connected with me and to be part of my journey, and they could actually respond or be there for me in a very different way. And it helped so much. And afterwards, it became also a bit like, okay, I'm going to treatment, but I have something to do. Like I can film something. And then the treatment, the hospital stay, the chemo, and everything becomes a bit more meaningful in a weird way. Like, okay, I have a job to do here. So it's a bit distracting also that you're not thinking so much about the chemicals going into your body. It's okay, I can maybe film my my machines and show who I am and what I'm doing, and that afterwards I can smile and laugh about it because it's a very fun situation. In the moment, it was not. I had to force myself a lot also because I had so low energy, but I knew that it's going to help me when I do it. And then I was filming and talking. But yeah, I'm very, very glad that I did it in the end. It was very, very helpful, not only for me, for everyone around me.
Mm. There are two videos which stand out for me among the many that I haven't seen all of them, by the way, that stand out for me. And of the 15 or 20 or so that I've seen. And one is the injection that because you're basically given this pack and you open it up and there are instructions there and you're kind of working out what you've got to do. And were you, do I remember it correctly? Were you also a bit surprised as to how big the needle was?
Yes, it
Yeah.
was so huge.
Oh man. And you're recording this, yeah? As in,
Yeah, you mean it's, I think that's what I said. It's like also the fun in the moment. Then you know, okay, I'm doing this right now. I'm not alone. I have something to share. And it's something also people give me feedback like that, what you did right now, that that's interesting or enjoyable to see. And then it's a good feeling to bring some positivity into this very shitty situation and then just have something to smile or to laugh about. And yeah, I think also because I still, from the beginning, my doctor said, okay, the goal is to be cancer free at one day, and you have this possibility, and we're working towards this. And this is something I always had in my mind, and which made me also see into my future and allow myself to just accept the moment and let it pass and go through it. And this, I don't know how my journey would have been without this kind of goal in the end. And this made me mostly go through it with a smile and not so much with a bad energy. And I met a lot of people who didn't have this kind of yeah, prediction that they're able to overcome the cancer, where it was mostly about to make the person less suffering and not getting healed. And I think for them it's a very different situation, a very different mindset. And if you tell me that you think it's courageous and strong what you see I've did, first thing in my head is like, oh, I don't think so. I don't think so it is. And I know that people think so, but for me, I have high respect for all the other people, not just in cancer, in every other kind of diseases, where the people have to actually live with it forever and build a daily life around it. And I think this takes much more strength. And I'm not sure if I'm doing right by the people who are in this situation. Maybe someone will listen and say, why is she talking about my situation and my feelings in that way? Why is she judging about it? It's just the way I'm seeing it and I'm receiving it, and I cannot speak for others. But yeah, that's my emotional reaction to it.
Before I forget, so that I also include the second video, which I'm referring to, which was the hair cutting and shaving scene. And once you had begun the chemo sessions, and it kind of reminded me a bit of like these movies that you see, this kind of dystopian, post-apocalyptic. There's been a nuclear, I don't know, war or radiation leak, and the person in the main shot starts to pull their hair out of their own scalp and so on, and then all sorts of things start happening and they melt and fall away. But okay, you didn't quite go that far, but you were cutting your hair and you had clumps of hair in your hand, and you were just, yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, you had like your normal sort of semi smile, expression on your face, and you're happily chopping away. But did you really feel? I mean, okay, I don't have much hair anyway, but if I had a full head of hair as you had at the time, I can't imagine how I would have felt pulling away clumps the way you were.
Actually, for me, it was not a big thing since it was clear from the beginning that I'm gonna lose the hair. I kind of accepted it quite fast, and when it started falling off, like you can see when I went through my hair, it was just hair going out and out and out, and it was annoying. I was like leaving a trace of hair everywhere where I went, and cutting off was also more like freeing and starting point. Okay, I'm doing this right now, so this is gonna happen. The chemo is working. I'm one step further in my journey, and let's do it now. And in a way, it was also curiosity, like how will I look like with short hair? Because I cut it short, firstly, because I didn't have the machine. And also in my head was like, how am I gonna look like when my hair will grow back one day? And it was more this kind of like seeing where things go. And once I got bald after my hair fell off like completely, it was also still fine. In the beginning, I was wearing like hats and stuff around my head, but there was a point where I also just started to go without anything on my head outside, and it took me a while actually, and I was surprised by that. But actually, in terms of hair, in the end of my treatment, once the eyebrows and eyelashes also started to fall off, this was way more difficult for me to accept and to deal with because my face was changing, and for me it started to look, and now I'm looking very sick. Now I'm looking not like myself anymore. And with bald hair, it was still kind of me, but starting to lose my eyebrows and lashes was very scary for me.
Hmm. How did that affect you then? That the fact that you started to feel as though you were almost becoming a different person. And when you looked into the mirror, if I look at some of my photographs from, I don't know, 20 years ago, and I look at, God, that was really me. Um, and then obviously I look into the mirror, and I've kind of lived with my changes on a day-to-day basis. You went through this huge change in a very short period of time. How did you feel towards the person looking back at you in the mirror?
It's interesting. Yeah, actually, it's hard for me to remember in this way to channel this kind of emotion. I just know that um, accepting situations is not so difficult for me. So especially when I know it's a not permanent situation, um, that I might have just be a bit like, that looks weird, but I'm like, okay, that's me right now. And I don't feel like a different person inside of me. So I'm maybe just anchoring to that I'm still myself. And of course, when I was outside in social context, um, I was feeling not as free, maybe I could say. Like I was checking if people will stare at me or see that I'm sick or treat me differently. Or of course the outside how you look is a big factor. And since I'm also tall and people notice me when I'm entering a room, that this kind of attention you're getting then when you not feel 100% comfortable with yourself, it was more like, okay, I want to make myself a bit smaller. I don't want to be seen that much. I don't want to be getting put in focus in the center of the attention. Um, but yeah, I think it changed also when I got used to it a bit, like when I got used to the new look of myself, and I tried to like develop something out of it to get cool hair bands and like style it up and find my own way of confidence again.
Was there a period where you said to yourself, I don't want to go out today. I'm just going to stay at home.
Yes, but only if I was physically not feeling well. Like sometimes I had crazy headaches, or when I came back from the chemo from the hospital, I had a few days where I was not able to leave the house. Just going from my bedroom to the bathroom was an exercise. And luckily, this was only like 2, 3 days max, and then I could already go to the grocery store and stuff like that. It took me about a week after chemo session to go back into a like routine social life. And then I had like 2 weeks of full entertainment and full life, and it was always the best 2 weeks of the month. Um, and yeah, if there was something coming, like if my immune system was very down, so I had to be more careful. I was wearing masks all the time, and I was like debating, should I really go there, because it's a small room with a lot of people, and right now my immune system is in the lowest point, and this kind of things made me maybe not go out, but my mind was usually always happy to live life.
As I mentioned before, with regards to how our Flinter team has created something of a unique atmosphere within our basketball club. You're one of the components of that, of course, and the way in which I've seen you interact with new players within our team, but then also with whenever we go to training and some of the guys turn up. You're a friendly face. You're a welcoming smile to everybody across the board. And you were talking there also about how, and previously, how people have kind of come together around you to help you through that. You strike me as one of those characters who's a community builder. You you know you're like you don't want necessarily to direct proceedings at every point, but you like getting people together. You like including people. You like showing people that there is a way of coming together and enjoying life. I guess that's a part of why you had so many of your friends and obviously your family come together around you.
For
And how does
sure.
that kind of shape the way you do things
You mean now?
now, but also at the time?
Mm, I think it was very beautiful to see that the connection I have built with my people around me is so strong and so beyond everything that I can really trust on them to be there. And until this point, most of the time, I was the person being there for other people. And of course, I also had problems and struggles, but I never was relying on someone to actually help me with something, or to like be like that I was not able to move or not able to deal with situations. And every time I was in the hospital, people were like making a schedule of coming, like writing in the WhatsApp group, I'm coming that day, I'm coming that day, do you need something? And also the connection between my friends and my family, because for my family, it was so hard to deal with their emotions, and they didn't really have people so much to talk about it, which are also in the situation, except for my friends. So there's my grandma started calling my friends and reassuring how I am doing and how I am, because she was so afraid also to that I might not tell the truth, that I try to keep up a picture by telling, I'm fine, grandma, don't worry, I'm going out for pizza right now. And she couldn't really trust my happy side, and then she got reassured by my friends, like, ah, yeah, Anna's really doing great, and don't worry about it, and we're taking care of her, and she will make it. And this helped me also so much, that this kind of emotional work with everyone, that it was not only my job to do, everybody was helping each other and being there for each other. And this is also something nobody can take away from us as my group of friends and family. Like, I can even notice it now, 2 years later, that if people of my friend group meet, which are not necessarily friends by themselves, but they're already so connected through what they've been through by the fear of losing me, and that I might die is something that connected them so deeply that it's something so peaceful. And I think it's something which carries on right now as well, that I'm just enjoying bringing people together in a way. And I'm also a very sensitive person. Like I sense if someone is in the room, and I don't want anybody to feel excluded in a way. And I always want to have doors open. And I think that's the energy you're talking about also maybe in the gym, that I I want everybody to feel welcome and to feel seen, because this is sometimes the only thing a person needs to, yeah, to be happy, to just be seen, and not feeling alone and feeling important. And that's something I also learned through the treatment, like that it's such an important thing in life to share also.
The last time we talked, you also mentioned how good and supportive the doctors were, but then also a little bit thrown in a sense, because you said that even for them, this form of cancer was quite rare, and
Hmm.
so they really didn't necessarily know exactly how to sort of plot your treatment.
Yes, in the beginning it was more like, yes, we will try this kind of therapy, we are planning this and this and that, and then you will see how your body reacts, how the cancer reacts, and then we will make adjustments to the plan. Um, and this was also very difficult to go through, because if you don't have the certainty of, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, my body will do this, and then this will going to happen, you don't have really something to grab on and to yeah, vision about what's going to happen. But my doctor back then, she was very human and she was very good and reassuring me that they're knowing what they're doing, that there's a big team behind it, that they're specialists in this field, and that they will take care of me and I can just do my job and they're doing their job. Um, so I had a lot of trust in my doctors. Still, the system, like the hospital system, was very annoying in many ways, that you, like your appointments, like the structure, how everything is going, you always had to think with, like you always had to make sure that everyone is doing the right thing, because communication is not really that well sometimes, and then you couldn't chill, you couldn't relax and just let things happen. But from the treatment itself, I always felt that that's the right thing I'm doing and people know what they're doing. And until now, still, I feel very safe by the care I get from my team. Um, and yeah, I think that's a very important thing when you're sick, that you can trust your doctors.
Yeah, the kind of reassurance that you're in safe hands.
Yeah.
When you were declared cancer free, you mentioned that there was a get together, but perhaps that was for your birthday. You said
Yeah.
not necessarily a celebration for being cancer free. And you mentioned that your mum read a letter she'd written.
Yes. Yes, usually when people have birthday, I'm trying to write them a letter. That's something I've been doing for years. And some of my friends and also my family, they're kind of picked up on that, and they're trying to like also write me a letter, because it's something so beautiful. And the year when I finished my treatment and I came back from a trip, I also had celebrated my birthday in my family's garden together with all my friends. And from the beginning, I was like, yeah, I want to celebrate my birthday, but I also want to celebrate that this chapter is over. And I want for, like, it's not a celebration about me, it's also a celebration for everyone and about everyone, because we went through this together. And it was such a beautiful day, like in April, 25 degrees. Everyone was just in a t-shirt outside in the garden. Everyone brought food. And there was a moment where my mom, at the table, everyone was sitting, like standing up, and she was so nervous. In the beginning, before the party even happened, she came to me, as like very insecure and wanting to talk to me. I was like, Mom, what's going on? Like, I'm preparing stuff. And she's like, yeah, I wrote a letter and I want to give it to you, but maybe I should read it later. And it's like, Mom, it's your letter. You can do whatever feels right, and I will gratefully take it. But if you want to read it out loud, feel free to go. I would love that. And then she got the courage and stand up and wrote this letter, and her voice was breaking in between, and then she had to pass it on to someone else to read it out loud. And it was a very pure, honest letter, and I haven't seen her that vulnerable, like openly, ever, I think, in my life. And that was such a beautiful and raw moment. And everybody was crying, like in the whole table, everybody had tears in their eyes because everybody could resonate with her feelings, with her fear, with her gratefulness. And it was a very special moment I will keep in my heart and my mind forever.
Yeah, beautiful. So cancer free, this was a year ago, a year and 2 or 3 months ago. And since then, you've gone in for regular checkups.
Yes. Every 3 months, I'm going to have an MRI and CT and blood checkup. Yes, it's nothing I'm looking forward to, but it's also nothing which stresses me out. I mean, the first checkup was a bit, okay, now I didn't have my treatment for 3 months, so if there were cancer cells in my body still active, they might have grown now. Now it's the time they might have done that. And now it's more and more chill. Still, every time I'm going, I have this kind of thinking in my head, it is a possibility. And with my kind of cancer, nobody can really predict. Nobody can tell me, yeah, it's a 20% of possibility or a 5% of possibility. It's a bit of it feels for me a bit like a 50-50 possibility. And that's something which I carry on through my life, and also mostly when I have a checkup, that it's something more present in my head that, okay, my life might look different in a few weeks again, and I cannot plan ahead after this so much. But it allows me, I can say, to be even more present in the moment and to just really feel and do and enjoy, or maybe not enjoy the things, to allow me to feel everything in the moment, because I know that I might not be able to do this in a few weeks or in a few months or in a few years. And this kind of, okay, it's now or never feeling is just now permanent in my life. And I wouldn't necessarily say it's a bad thing. But of course, it's not always a nice thing to think and feel. And it's a lot of mental work you have to put in to not let this drown you down. But as I said, like my mental strength and my surrounding is like really helping me to put it on, like giving it upside, like I'm taking it for my advantage, and I'm not letting this affect me in a negative way. And yeah, it's right now still not so stressful for me to go to the checkups. The checkup itself is very hard because I have to lay around for 1 hour and not move at all, and I start to get pain everywhere, and then it's like, when is this over? And you don't know about time and feelings and stuff anyway. But it's only 1 hour of 24 hours a day, so afterwards you can just let it go. It's fine.
Mm-hmm. So at the moment, it's still every 3 months, or is it already every 6 months?
Every 3 months for at least 2 years, maybe even longer, and then 6 months, and after 10 years, maybe once a year or maybe every 2 years. But it's for every person they decide differently. There's not really a structure.
You've spoken with me about this, so obviously this is a topic which can arise with new friends and new people you meet. You meet a lot of people now through the basketball team. There's always somebody new coming in and going out, but I don't think everybody really knows exactly about what you've had to go through. I guess they'll find out once this is published. Do you feel, is there any point at which you start to get a little bit annoyed? Because, I mean, the cancer is a significant chapter in your life, but it doesn't define who you are. You are so much more than the battles that you have won. Is there a point at which you start to get annoyed talking about it? As in,
No, I think it's not that talking about it is not annoying me, because it is part of me. It is part of my life. And if you want to get to know me and understand me, then it's a very important and necessary thing to know. I think what I can say, what annoys me a bit recently, is what I said in the beginning also, that people start to assume or to put things together in the way they're not true. Like, for example, she is this kind of open and happy and warm because she went through cancer and because she fight it, and she is so strong because of that. And for me, it feels not right. It's like, cancer didn't make me strong, and cancer didn't make me a positive person. And this is something which I'm still struggling in a way of how to deal with a situation if I feel a person is assuming this. Sometimes I'm just not saying anything to it. I'm like, okay, with time you will understand that cancer is not me. But sometimes I'm picking up a conversation and actually saying, yeah, cancer did something with me, and also I changed, but that's not the reason I am who I am. And it's still difficult sometimes for me to decide when to do what. But in general, I love talking about it because it's such a big part of my life and of what my mentality is coming from, for sure. That it's something I love to share. I love to share. In general, I love sharing because it makes understand each other, and to also see in different worlds. Because before, I never had somebody having cancer and when going through these treatments and stuff like that close in my life. And there's so much more behind it, and there's this full society, a full group of people. And I think it's with every kind of, not only sickness, but also basketball is a full scene and society, and there's so much to learn from each other, how we do things and what's going on. And we're all part of one society, and we all live together door on door. And I think it's very important to be aware of the realities everybody lives in, and this is a completely different reality than most of the other people are having. And once you share with each other, it brings a lot of understanding. And I think to be peaceful with each other, we need to understand. And that's why I'm never annoyed of talking about me or cancer or stuff like that.
I had a conversation yesterday with my older son, Alexander. We were talking about TV shows, mainly Marvel, and about how basically all of the characters seem to stem from a similar kind of backstory, that some crazy tragedy befalls them, and then from that tragedy they turn into this power for good and this representation for the best of society and so on. I guess probably people, and this is a huge assumption, I just get the feeling people are really overcome nowadays by developing a kind of Hollywood style narrative, because that's the only way that they can explain everything that happens around them. So people probably look at you and think, okay, you are, okay, without superpowers, but you are, as it were, a power for good, because you are so inclusive, you are so positive, you are so energetic, you are so welcoming and approachable. And people look at that and think, okay, wow, there must be something. Okay, so she's so that's it. So this is the trigger moment that made her decide suddenly she's going. Maybe people just simply cannot or do not recognize the possibility that there are actually, as unique as we all may be, but there are actually a number of very nice people out there. The problem is we don't often enough get to hear from them. We always hear about all of the other people who want to hurt others, who want to exclude others, and so on. So it's a refreshing change to see somebody.
Yeah,
No?
yeah, know what you mean. Also, this kind of what you said, we need an explanation for things, why they are, how they are. And I can understand I'm doing the same things. Like I'm not different from the others. I'm doing the same things with other people. I'm making assumptions and putting things together and explaining. And it's new to be on the other side of this. And I'm also not saying that I'm angry about it. It's just something recently coming more and more to like up in my life, and it's interesting. It's like, wow, okay, I've never had this situation before, and that's interesting. And as you said, you get to understand how other brains are working, and then also you get to understand how you are working, because most of the times you're not that different from what other people are doing. And I love that about this kind of interaction.
Okay, I'm not going to ask you, as I fell into the pitfall of doing last time, about any kind of message that you may want to give, but a very a very a very simple question though. Yeah, what are your plans for the next few months? What are you looking forward to most?
Wow, that's a good question. Actually, basketball has been a big part now. I'm really looking forward to yeah, exploring this more, because since I was a child, I wanted to play and I never really make it happen. And I'm very happy that now I have the resources and the time to do so. Um, and yeah, I'm just really looking forward for summer, spending time with my friends, my family, enjoying dancing, being outside, just yeah, just normal things to do. Just living, just being alive.
Anna, what can I say? Thank you very much. A great sport for coming back and doing the show again, considering my technical issues from the first episode. Or first,
Hopefully, we don't have to do it a third time.
I'd love to do it a third time, but maybe talk about something else. But anyway,
Yeah.
yeah, time will tell. But yeah, thank you very much for for coming on and talking about these things. For you, it's clearly not an issue, but yeah, not everybody has, I suppose, the same approach to life that you have, and so therefore, in my head, I still find it something of a challenge, in which case to try to completely understand what you've been through, and I hope I will learn to do that better, and listening to you speaking about it will help that. But yeah, it'll be great to see you with the team, how you interact with the team, and how the team interacts with one another. I think everybody there is fantastic, and yeah,
That's true.
let's look forward to a great first season together.
Yeah. Mhm. Thank you so much, Zach. I really appreciate your effort and you seeing behind my story and making me share even more. I love that.
And mic.